What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another daily video. Hope everybody's weekend is going well. I'm going to be playing Last of Us today, trying to finish it off to get a review done for you guys, but that's in the future. Right now, I wanted to have a candid conversation about a topic that's kind of reared its ugly head recently, and it's about whether it's okay or acceptable for games to launch in a broken state. Now, this is really nothing new. Games, especially multiplayer games, mainly multiplayer games, have come out in the past. You know, think of the DICE games or the Battlefield games, where their servers didn't work properly for the first week or the first couple days. I mean, hell, even think to like Master Chief Collection and how broken that game was. But the reason I wanted to have this conversation was because there was two really hyped up indie games that came out recently for Xbox and for PlayStation 4. One being Friday the 13th, which came out on every platform, and the other one, which is Culling, which, even though it's been out on PC for a while, just came exclusively to the Xbox One this past Friday. Now, the issue is with both those games is that at launch, Friday the 13th didn't work right. Quick Match still doesn't work right on the Xbox. You can play the game together in player matches, but the game has a lot of issues, a lot of clipping, a lot of people getting dropped out. It's not a perfect game. And the thing with the Culling is that the game just doesn't work. It's an online-only game, and the servers are completely down. And they've been completely down since the game launched Friday morning. And what are we now? It's now Sunday. So, you know, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to candidly have a conversation about whether it's okay for these companies to launch their product, charge people money, take that money, and release a broken product onto the marketplace. And this is going to be a kind of a sensitive topic because, honestly, I believe both those devs had zero intention of launching their games broken. I mean, you can tell if you go to their Twitter, go to their Facebook pages, they are devastated that the games don't work and people can't play their game. The Friday the 13th devs have been very active on social media, even explaining why the game and the servers crashed. They were expecting like 30,000 people to play it total, and that first minute when they turned on the servers, 80,000 people stormed in. So, of course, servers crash. That's terrible. I mean, good for the devs because a lot of people bought your game. A lot of people paid $40 for it. But now you got to get more servers. But that wasn't the only thing wrong with Friday the 13th. There was issues with the matchmaking, which I know they are working on diligently. Now with the Culling, the issue seems to be server load issues. They really haven't come out and said what the Friday the 13th people said, but they're on social media and they're trying to give people updates for it. And saying we'll get it back on as fast as we possibly can. Hold on to your butts, basically. But the question here is, they still took your money. Friday the 13th is $40. The Culling, while it does have a free demo because it is in game preview, is also $25. And yes, we've had this in the past, like I mentioned. Master Chief Collection was sold for $60, and it didn't work right in the multiplayer for a long time. Battlefield games didn't work right, and I always find that I don't think it's acceptable, but I understand why, right? I understand why people get upset about it. They pay for a product and they want it to work, and I completely sympathize with the developers because I don't believe any developer out there is just trying to put out a bad product and be like, gotcha, I got your money, now I'm not going to do anything. Now there may be some out there, maybe like the dev of Soda Drinker Pro or something where he's just trying to make a quick buck. But I honestly believe the devs of the Culling and Friday the 13th want people to play. They're devastated by the fact that people can't play their game or play it properly. But still, we are consumers. I'm not a game developer, right? So I'm not sure how any of this stuff works. I get completely told that all the time by my friends in the game industry that I don't know anything about game development, and that's exactly true. I don't know anything about server load or coding or any of that stuff. No idea what that is. But there is one thing I am. and that's a consumer. I have bought plenty of games in the past. I have paid for a lot of games. And when I hand over my money, I expect that product to work right away. When I go to McDonald's and I buy a burger, I expect to be able to eat that right away. When I go to the movie theater and the movie's advertised to play at 6:30 and I give them my money for my ticket, I expect that movie to play at 6:30 and it's the movie that I paid for. When you go buy a car and you pay the money, you expect to be able to drive that car off the lot and it work properly. You don't want to hear like, well, give me the money and then maybe in a week it might work. Nobody wants to hear that. When you buy a TV, like when I bought my 4K TV and I paid X amount of dollars for it, you expect it to work the moment you plug it into your outlet, not a week later. And that's the issue here. Is it okay for this to happen? Now, I've seen people give a pass to The Culling more so than Friday the 13th because The Culling is in game preview. So it's like an early access game. And they say, well, it's an early access, so you got to give them the pass. And even myself, when thinking about this topic, I was more inclined to give The Culling and the devs of the game, I'm probably going to say this wrong, Xaviant, more of a pass than, say, the devs of Friday the 13th, Ilphonic, because that game is in early access and game preview. But when I thought about it, I was like, well, yeah, even though The Culling has that 1-hour demo, they're still charging $25 to play the game, and nobody wants to pay to play the game and then go to play it and not be able to play it, regardless of how the devs are saying on Twitter how sorry they are, that they wish it could be up. No, I mean, nobody wants to hear that. They want to be able to play and experience the product they just purchased. So I've seen people refund The Culling, now that there is that refund option on Xbox. And I've been a little harsh on the Friday the 13th devs, to be honest, because in my review, I didn't like the game whatsoever. I don't like Friday the 13th. I understand that it can be fun, and I've had a little fun with it. My friends really enjoy that game. But I also can't get over the fact that that game launched in that state. The game should have launched in game preview, and then they could have worked out the issues. So I'm of like two minds here. Like, as a consumer, I am upset that a game that you pay for doesn't work properly. That bothers me, right? But then also, being an understanding person that I am, and hearing about how hard these guys are working to fix their games and they had no intention of launching a broken product, I feel like, man, was I too harsh on them? Should I have cut them more slack? Game development is a hard thing. Even though I know nothing about it, everybody I know and read, that have told me things about it, and you go on these Twitter and all these forums, like, developers always say game development is a tough thing. Am I too hard on them for not having their game working? They are indie devs. They are smart developers. Am I being too hard on these developers for not having their game up at, working when they sell you the game? And the more I think about it, I mean, yeah, I was pretty harsh on them. But at the same time, they are charging money for their product. So, I don't even know what the right answer is here, to be honest with you. Because I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. Obviously, I have my own thoughts of what I think is okay and not. And I really do feel for all the people who are looking forward to playing The Culling and drop down their $25, thought about playing it this weekend, and weren't able to play. Same thing with Friday the 13th. And of course, there are some people out there be like, Rand, chill. You'll be able to play it eventually, like a week from now, and everything will be fine and there'll be no problems. And I get that. But I paid for the game today, to play it today, not a week from now. If I wanted to play it a week from now, I would have bought it a week from now. You know what I'm saying? There's just so many factors that go into this. And I thought this was a relevant discussion to have, because this isn't the first time this has happened. It happens with big multiplayer games all the time, AAA games. I mean, this is an issue because EA goes through it often at the when you know their games hit. It just happens. You can't really predict these things. But at the end of the day, I'm not a game developer. I'm a consumer. I paid for these games, and I want them to work when I go to play them. So I honestly don't think it's right for a developer. Hold on, this is what I'll say. I don't think it's right for a developer to launch their game knowing it's going to be broken. I'll make that caveat. And from everything I've seen, neither of these two devs really knew that this was going to happen. So I'll cut them an iota of slack. I feel for them. I know they're working tons of hours to make it right. But I'm not going to cut them too much slack. So let me know what you guys think. Is it okay for games to launch in a broken state? Is it okay for these people to take your money and then you not be able to play the product that you were promised right away? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm really interested in seeing what you have to say. And as always, if you liked the video, please hit that like button, as it does help out the channel a lot. Consider subscribing for more content, and I will see everybody later.